everybody.
Okay, very good. Ricky, give me a little audio if you would, sir.
Hey, mother trucker!
All right, very good. Suzanne.
Greetings.
All right, fantastic. Gary, a little bit out of you.
Hello.
Great. Okay, everybody's audio sounds good. We are going to be right back, and let the list begin. 1 second, everybody.
Do it live. We're going live.
Fuck it, we'll go live.
We're going live.
And there we are, live indeed. All right, folks. Here we are. The list of legends has assembled once more. The gavel has been struck, and a panel of horror experts has arrived to serve horror justice, swift and fair. And over the course of I don't know, the next hour to 2 hours, we'll see how this goes. We are going to assemble the definitive list of the 20 best zombie films of all time. People come up to you all the time and they're like, hey, what are the best zombie movies? Now you don't have to think anymore. You don't have to worry about it. This list will answer that question for you and will serve as your definitive guide. So let's introduce the panel of experts, starting clockwise from me. We have one, Ricky Morgan. How are you, sir?
Hey, I can't wait to talk about the top 20 best Rob Zombie movies.
That's. I think you're going to have a rough time today. So, with us also the a newcomer, fresh meat, to the grinder of the list of legends, Susan Capoletti from Cinema Beef. Welcome.
Hello, I can't wait to talk about these lame zombie movies that everyone just seems to be all about.
Oh, wow. That feels judgmental. But that's what
You
this
know
is
I am
about.
totally
I respect
kidding.
it. That judgment is what this panel is for. Beneath her is one Gary Hill, who has gone full Return of the Living Dead now.
Yes.
And also from Cinema Beef, how are you, sir? And thanks for returning.
Yes, because this is the cast of Bo could assemble. You know, no college basketball here, people.
Yeah.
Although,
Right.
go team, guys. You know.
Well, here's
Go
the difference between us and college basketball is I don't allow any of you to sell your likeness rights. I own all of those. So, you know.
If you want to put my face on a T-shirt, I'm not sure it'll sell very well. Maybe like some random sex toys, maybe. You know.
Don't kid yourself. We've got action figures coming soon.
But there will be a lot of balls bouncing and a 10-second shot clock.
I always wanted a Gary Hill fleshlight.
If you sold with the full beard, you might have something there. Put a different face on it though, because you know it's because I have what they call a face for radio. Okay, let's put it that way.
Yeah, but wouldn't the beard constitute more of a French tickler?
Well, it's double action then. See, you know.
Gary Hill's French ticklers coming soon.
Now, if it was the Gary Zombie, if it was the Gary Zombie fleshlight, there'd be a really disgusting action with that thing. I don't want to get into, but you know,
Look,
it'd be pre-lubricated.
We'll talk about Otto or Up with the Dead People in a moment. In the meantime, Derek, I always want to say it's Derek Bourgeois. Do I have that right?
It is.
Okay. Because I thought that for so long, and then I felt like you corrected me at some point, as most people do when I'm trying to pronounce their names. And then, but that never happened. I just always felt like I was wrong. But that's really a thing I'm working through with my therapist. At any rate, happy to have you back. What is there anything you want to plug in the upfront here?
Yeah, the usual. You know, all my shows. But mostly my Legion show, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space.
Yeah, there you go. Brand synergy, baby. But the other stuff too. So let us begin. Here is how this works. We will go around the table. We will go clockwise. Everyone will pitch the film. We will decide in real time where this ranks on our list. So, First Blood will go to one Richard Morgan. Probably not right. But what will be the best zombie movie of all time, at least briefly?
I'm going to go ahead and throw this one out here because I had a conversation about it last night and it's fresh on my brain. It's the almighty Reanimator.
Okay. Anyone arguing Reanimator is not a zombie movie? Just to play devil's advocate here.
No, it definitely is. There's living dead corpses coming back to life.
All right.
It's kind of the game changer of, you know, we grew up with the zombies being the slow moving, coming back from the dead, creeping up stuff. This was kind of the turning point of them coming back and being angry.
Gotcha.
So it kind of started that whole phase.
Yeah. All right. I'm with it. I mean, it's Reanimator's one of those movies that feels like a rite of passage film. You know, we were talking briefly before going on the air about those, you know, movies that you try to kind of gross out your friends with and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
And Reanimator is extreme in a couple of ways. You know, it's like, obviously sexually, it's one of those movies where you're like, that head's doing what now? So that's a thing, but it's also incredibly gory.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me as a kid, as a youngin', Reanimator was certainly one of those like rites of passage films as well.
So I'm go ahead, Gary.
I never thought about this till like my last viewing of it, but it's kind of like a mixture of like traditional zombie films and kind of like the Haitian ones because of the laser lobotomies, you know, controlling its victims' minds, you know.
Yeah.
Yep. Right.
It's kind of like a weird mixture. I never noticed that until like the last time I watched it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Night of the Living Dead meets White Zombie.
Yep.
I have a funny story about Reanimator. My dad used to have a fishing cabin up on Lake Ontario. He had a VCR, so whenever I'd go up and visit him, I would, you know, pack a few VHS tapes because I was always up later than he was. So I grabbed Reanimator, midnight or so. I'm about 20 minutes from the end where it really batshit insane. My father walked out, saw the massive gore in the intestines flying everywhere. And he looked at me and said, I forbid you to watch this. I'm like, Dad, I'm 21 years old. I can kind of do whatever I want now.
Yeah. Ship has sailed. We're past that now.
At least he didn't walk in when the head's trying to have sex with Barbara Crampton.
Oh, God, you know how happy I am? That did not happen.
It's the first movie I remember kicking out of the VCR when it was over and instantly ran over to my neighbor's house and said, you got to watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and when you're a kid, again, being a teenager and seeing it for the first time, you kind of can't believe that somebody would make that movie. Right. You know? It's like they make movies like this where there's the head and then there's the body that's roaming around and it's kind of funny, but it's also really dark and it's I mean, Reanimator's a fantastic movie. It's certainly a fine pick.
A few of mine on here may be questionable, so if anybody wants to shoot them down, that's absolutely fine. I'm just, you know, these are just the ones that I consider good zombie flicks.
That is the beauty of the list of legends. It is cruel. Right. Also, a reminder to those watching that you can certainly contribute to the list in the chat. Drop the names of movies, and I mean, this is a completely subjective kind of situation where if I think this suggestion is a good or interesting one, I will bring it up. Otherwise, I'll ignore it. That's just how it goes. What I will not ignore, however, is one Suzanne Capoletti with her first pick, and what goes on this list.
You know, this was a tough one because there's two that I absolutely love. And one of them, I have got to go with Dead Snow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That had just a little bit of everything. I mean, you had Nazi zombies, you had just mass carnage, and just a damn bloody fine movie. You guys know I was all kidding. I love zombie movies, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm Dead Snow.
Yeah.
It's a fun one. The first thing I ever remember when the first time I ever seen Dead Snow was it actually had like a horror fan as one of the characters. That one dude, and he was referenced other movies and stuff like
Yeah.
Evil
Oh yeah,
Dead.
he had the Brain Dead T-shirt on.
Yeah, it was awesome and stuff. And
Mhm.
he's the only character that gets slayed in the movie, and he gets a blumpkin. It's hilarious. I wish he was in the movie longer too. That character though, that's my only gripe with it.
Oh, I
but
know.
still fun though.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one. I enjoyed Dead Snow. I didn't go nuts for it. I felt like it was a little too referential. You know, it was very clear that they had seen Evil Dead a bunch when the filmmakers were younger, and it felt very Raimi-esque. Which is not a bad thing, you know. I had a good time with it, but like I said, I just didn't have that, like, I'm crazy about this kind of reaction. But a lot of people loved it, and I didn't really like Dead Snow 2 when that came out, and I told people I might as well have just, like, you know, pissed in their cereal. They were not pleased with me that I how dare you speak ill of Dead Snow 2. I was like, it just wasn't my thing.
Well, with Death Snow 2 for me anyway, it seemed to be played more for laughs than actual seriousness.
Yeah.
And it
But
wasn't
the
very funny.
absolute end scene of the movie, I can never listen to Total Eclipse of the Heart in the same way ever again.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so it is number 2 on our list only because that is the order in which it was picked. Does anyone believe that Dead Snow belongs in the position above Reanimator?
It'd be no for me. Yeah, I would think no.
It's a no from Gary Dog.
Yeah, I like it, but yeah, it's definitely. I think Reanimators. It's just more time. It had more time to be
All right.
embraced. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
All right, so Dead Snow, our number 2 zombie movie. Gary, what is our third film?
I gotta do justice for Duncan's travesty of a summer series and put Cemetery Man on this list because it needs to be there. And it directed by Kano from Demons, and
Sovi, yeah.
it's just wonderful. The comedy's there, the tragedy's there. The fat guy assistant in love with the severed head.
Sure.
It's just it's everything. I love Cemetery Man. He needs a good American release. I'm talking to you, Arrow. Just do it, you know. Discuss. I know people like this movie too, you know.
Love it.
It's fantastic. It's probably one of my first few Italian horror movies I ever seen, and you know, it's great. You know, Rupert Everett does a fantastic job in the role, and it's just great and atmospheric as all hell in that cemetery.
Give me the spade.
and that's the thing, you know, it's the anti Dead Snow 2 where it's very funny, and it's not like it's never. I was gonna say it's never overtly funny, but it is. It gets kind of goofy at times, but it never feels tonally inconsistent. Like that feels. It, you know, like when it gets gory, and it feels very European, but it also has kind of a Western sensibility about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that girl's breasts. You know, they're kind of perfect. That's all I'm saying about that. Yeah,
it's you know, look, if you're gonna you know, put on the show, I'll buy the ticket. And those were important breasts for me as a kid.
Ricky just put his eyes up in such a way to say, "Is my wife watching this?" You know.
Yeah, there's no denying she was. That's about possibly the hottest zombie ever. So.
Yeah, maybe so. Like that's like that in Life Force was another one of those when I was a kid. That was like
absolutely
like
yes.
I can't ever let anyone see me watching this. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, Cemetery Man's a great movie. I don't know. Anyone else have an argument for or against Cemetery Man?
Oh,
That's my Valentine's Day movie. I watch it every Valentine's Day.
All right. Well, then where do we think it belongs on this list? Is it better than Dead Snow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
it better than Reanimator?
It's a toughie.
It really is. It's really tough.
Hey, look, nobody said this list was going to be easy.
This is true.
Anybody
Well,
could do it.
Cemetery Man's a little bit more, God help me, sentimental than Reanimator. So is that points for or points against?
You know, it's tough. This is really an apples to oranges kind of thing as I look at these two movies. Because Cemetery Man is a little more art house,
Absolutely. Yeah.
whereas Reanimator is much more the like drive-in kind of movie, and it's two entirely different, sort of flavors. They're both fantastic movies, though. It is a tough call. I think my heart is probably with Reanimator, but I could be swayed real easy on this one.
That's where I'm at too, and I absolutely love Cemetery Man.
Yeah.
I think it's cinematically, it's cinematically Cemetery Man is a better movie, but when I think about the impact of these movies on the genre, how do you compare it up against Reanimator?
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I could go with that.
my points are more toward Reanimator just because it's, I guess, more of a straighter horror movie. Because, like I said, there's a sentimentality to Cemetery Man that is totally absent in Reanimator.
And I could see like people that watch Cemetery Man for the first time be like, the first time they say, "What the fuck was with that ending?"
Right? Yeah.
Which is a big no with a few people, in that sense.
Right. And they watch the Reanimator at the end of it and they go, "Oh no, you didn't."
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think by the hair of its chinny chin chin, Reanimator keeps the number one spot, but it's clear that number 1 and 2 are both going to be tough to beat. Speaking of tough to beat, Derek.
Well,
what is our fourth film?
I'm gonna go all the way to the land of Spain with Armando Diosario's Tombs of the Blind Dead.
Yeah.
Atmospheric as all hell. I love the look of the Templar Knight zombies. They're amazing. It's just a different take that I always dug. And I could have put any of the Blind Dead films in here, but I went with the first one. I even like the Ghost Galleon, which is cheesy. I know it has a toy ship, but the Tombs of the Blind...
Which one is Night of the Seagulls? Is that Ghost Galleon?
No, that's the fourth one. That's the one.
Yeah, it's the last one in the series.
Okay, gotcha.
Which
bonkers.
Yeah.
That one's crazy.
I dig them all for different aspects, but it's the first one of a different type of zombie film, and I had to give its due. It has a lot of interesting aspects that you see in other zombie films, but the thing I like about this is they hunt by sound, which you never, even if your heart is pounding, they can hear it and they find you. And it's that slow creeping fear of when they actually find you that makes it exceptional. And it's just a great feeling movie. And the score is haunting as all hell with that, and it's the whole backstory of the Templar Knights, which changes throughout films, is interesting, but it's very interesting in this one. And I just love the fact that they try to make this, like they try to sell this as a Planet of the Apes ripoff. In certain areas they had like a Tomb of the Blind Apes, like something.
Right.
But yeah, Tombs of the Blind Dead, fantastic film in my opinion.
I had that one on my list too, and I've got one of the Coffin box sets that I absolutely adore. And I have to admit, this one has got one of the best atmospheres. I just kind of like the way that it just looks misty, like you're watching somebody's bad dream. And I also dug the Nice Templar story to go along with it. But I'm a huge fan of the series.
Yeah.
And Tombs is the best one of the bunch.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I am not as familiar. I've seen Tombs of the Blind Dead. It's been a while, so I'm not gonna chime in on this one too much, other than to say, where do we think it belongs on this list? Is it does this belong above Dead Snow?
I think so.
Above Dead Snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are killing me with my Dead Snow.
All right. What, all right. Well, but
No,
then
but I
here-
agree. It is. Dead Snow isn't for everybody.
Gotcha. And all right, so here's where we run into the grinder of Cemetery Man and Reanimator. Is it better than either of those movies?
I'll make the judge of this. I think it should just stay at 3.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'd put it too.
All
And
right.
I mean, I got to do the whole series with Duncan, so I mean, I have a great love for these movies too. But yeah, it's a shame they're not as well known as they should be, especially the first one. But yeah, how do you again, just the impact of the other two, I think, is greater.
All right. I'm with you. All right then. It is time for my pick, and I'm gonna go with. All right. I got to go with the hometown favorite on this one. I'm going with The Battery.
Oh yeah.
The Battery was one of those little indie movies that kind of made me fall in love with the zombies all over again. I also think, in addition to it just being an achievement for a very low budget film, I think it, it looks good. It moves at a nice pace. It's got one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a long time. And just one of the most like kind of charming friendships I've seen on screen in a long time as well. It's kind of my gold standard for indie movies these days of like, hey, is this movie, I don't care what the budget is, does this movie make me want to watch it again immediately after I see it? And The Battery was one of those movies for me where I kind of got obsessed with like Jeremy Gardner as a filmmaker who's gone on to do other great stuff, and I'm really so excited for him. But also like the, Plaza Rock Central, the people who did the soundtrack and stuff like that. So I kind of went down a deep The Battery hole, and I think it's a very small movie, but I think it does what all good zombie movies do, which is it uses the zombies as a backdrop to tell a very human story about friendship and that kind of thing. So that is my piece with The Battery. Has anyone else seen it? Does anyone else have feelings about The Battery?
It was a breath of fresh air when it came out. So I think it kind of rejuvenated the idea of it doesn't have to be World War Z to be a great movie, and I think it's great.
Yeah, it just tells a simple story, and it's just these two dudes traveling, and I just like the aspect that they don't even really kind of like each other,
Right? Yeah.
And I like that aspect of it. It's like zombie movie 101 done simple.
Yeah,
and it's great.
Yeah, but not so simple that it's like it lacks a punch or something,
Yeah, for sure.
All right, then let's get to some judgment here. I would argue my feeling would be somewhere around the 3 or 4 range. But that's because I don't have as much fondness for Tombs of the Blind Dead. If there's a big push against The Battery.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have no judgment because somehow this one I've never seen.
You ought to see
going
it.
on my list.
And see, that's the danger with The Battery, is I knew that there's a good chance that a couple of people hadn't seen it, and also it is an indie movie. It is not,
No, those are the ones I prefer.
Yeah.
Like I'd say at least 3, possibly 4 of us have seen zombie ass Toilet of the Dead.
That's true.
Which is a real movie. What a movie it is. Yeah.
What about in the number 4 slot then? How's everybody feel about that?
I can be happy with it.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that for now, and then we can always readjust later on if we feel.
Yeah.
That, does it go above Tomb of the Blind Dead? I don't know. We'll talk it out.
All right, fair enough. All right, so Let's leave that there then, and let's go back to Rick, sir.
Okay, I'll go ahead and get my other fun one out of the way.
Nobody's looking
I
to
got-
have fun here, sir.
Come on, man. Night of the Creeps.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
All right.
I mean,
Thrill me.
yeah, I mean, just it never gets old. It's very repeatable, just like you were talking about with the battery. It's one of those you can almost just turn back on again and go back through. I love everything about it. I mean, it's just fun.
Fred Decker, man.
Yeah,
Fucking awesome.
yeah.
Here-
Just always loved it.
Here is my concern with it being on this list, is that it also has heavy non-zombie-ish sci-fi elements to it.
Sure.
That being said, I love Night of the Creeps. And I do think, like, it has a zombie serial killer in it. I think that's one of the most fun zombie things that's ever been in a movie, is this, the dude that he killed and buried under the new head mother's house or whatever. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that whole sequence.
I have no arguments in it because pretty much, if you think about it, a lot of like the early 2000s zombie movies kind of had like a sci-fi twist to them too, like Undead, which kind of influence from this movie,
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Undead's a very interesting movie for sure. Yeah.
God, I haven't watched that in years.
Yeah, it's been a while. But we are not here to talk about Undead unless somebody, puts it on their list in a minute. Right now, our focus is on Night of the Creeps, which rules.
Oh, I love Night of the Creeps. It's fun. It works. It's space slug zombies, and everything that's fun about a movie is here. You got zombies. You've got just a little bit of everything. I think it's hilarious that he named most of the characters after directors. There was Cronenberg and a few others. So it's fun all around. It's got little things for everybody in it. I love Night of the Creeps. I'm all for it. It's a great zombie movie.
Yeah, I ripped off that gag for Lost After Dark, so that was my homage to a movie that makes homages.
I think I still will occasionally answer my phone. Thrill me.
Yeah. Oh boy, is Tom Atkins the coolest in that movie?
Oh yeah.
Love him.
Oh. I mean, that
It's awesome.
that whole sequence with him on the beach with the carnation and everything. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Yeah, it's I'll tell you, here's another thing I love about Tom Atkins in that movie. I love the number of times he's almost gonna kill himself and just gets interrupted, especially that last time with the gas when he's got like the duct tape around the door and the whole deal. Oh man. Anyway, I just I love him in that movie.
He's
But
like,
you
this, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Biz. Go ahead.
He's like, this is the only way I can get an erection. Suicidal thoughts. Come on, now,
It's a spin on the Michael Hutchins, which I respect. Doing something
Good.
different, evolving it, which I like. All right, so where does Night of the Creeps belong on this list? I feel like there's a high degree of affection for it.
I'm looking at 3.
3.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think 3 feels right to me as well on this
Above-
list. So
Above Cemetery Man, yeah.
let me. There we go.
Hey, bumped my movie too. Yeah. That's all.
This show's all about bumpage, man.
Yeah,
Come on now.
yeah. Like, don't get precious. So, Reanimator, Cemetery Man, Night of the Creeps. Gotcha. All right, that feels right to me. And okay, all right. So, Suzanne, what is our next film?
Oh God, I hate to do this and just jump right in, but I've got to go with movie I watched the most. It's been my favorite for I can't even count how many years. I've got 4 different copies of it, and I know you guys are going to be mad at me for doing it this early, but the Zombie Flesh Eaters.
All right.
This has been my favorite movie. This is the one that I always, Night of the Living Dead is the gold standard, but Zombie is the one that made me just love, brain eating, eye gouging zombies. This has everything in a movie that I love. I can watch this at any time when I'm having a bad day. I can pop it in. You have a zombie versus a shark that Microsoft used in a commercial. This is the best, the baddest of all of them. Sorry, guys. I had to do it.
Oh,
No.
no.
It belongs on here.
I think we're all just leaving that spot open because we knew that several of us are fans. So whoever jumps on it first, hey, take it.
Somebody
It's
was
my
gonna, and it continues the theme of shit I ripped off for Lost After Dark, because I rip off the eyeball gag in Zombie. So Zombie is a seminal movie for me. I love it. It's one of the first 4Ks I bought. Was that transfer, which is gorgeous, and I love it. It's amazing. It's one of the best ever. I don't know who else wants to fillet it.
Well,
Go ahead, Nick.
it's my favorite horror film of all time. So I was gonna pick it eventually, and I'm glad somebody did it for me. I just just that opening shot where Richard Johnson be like, "The boat can leave now, tell the crew," and then the fucking Fabio Frizzi score just hits. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
fucking in, man.
Yeah.
I'm in for this movie.
It has a great ending shot as well. Like it delivers
Oh, God, I
front to
know.
back. Yeah, it's real good.
My favorite scene is still the conquistador coming out of the ground and all the worms. And it's just done in slow motion, and everyone is just like watching in awe. Even though you can kind of see around the edges of the makeup. I don't care. It's perfect.
It's full of cheese, so as maggots everywhere. So it's
Oh yeah. Maggots, worms.
You know,
The thing
somebody was
about
like,
it to me-
Signor Fulci, why you need so many maggots, huh? Don't worry about it.
Don't
You
worry
just
about
bring
it.
them to me.
The thing
Also
that makes
a
it work
fan.
for me, what makes it work for me is it's almost like you can smell the bodies, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I
they're
mean,
not
they
paint-
make it just dirty.
yeah, they're not painted blue. They're not, and the fact that they don't even really look at you when they're walking, their heads don't even, it's like they can just sit you there instead of actually seeing you. To me, these are the best zombies in any movie, period.
Best looking zombies ever.
I agree.
Wow. All right. Getting real around here. Anybody else want to take a stand on Zombie Flesh Eaters, aka Zombie 2, aka Zombie?
I can't argue. It's placed on this list. I'm sure it's gonna be high up, so I'm waiting for that to happen.
Number one.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's start at number 4. Okay, is this better than Night of the Creeps?
I think
Yes.
so.
Yes.
All right, is it better than Cemetery Man?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it better than Reanimator?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I mean, I feel like that is a consensus, and I don't disagree with that. I think when you're talking about zombie movies, it's
Right.
some of the best. So,
Right.
what we've got a recommendation from chat we will get to on this round. Feel free to leave some more in the chat. So, just want to acknowledge that, and let's keep rolling here with Gary. Let's
Yeah.
have it.
I promise not to put anything stupid on this list. Like you have some like those deep cuts that aren't so deep that maybe some folks missed when it came out. And one of those picks for me is sometime in the aughts, Dance to the Dead came out and I had a good time with it. And I know a lot of other folks had a good time with it too. It's like one of those, teens nervous about going to the prom movies, and they go to the prom, and then there's zombies about. And a band playing music in a garage that repels zombies. It's hilarious. And it's a lot of fun. If you haven't seen Dance to the Dead, it was one of those after dark selections. And there's not many of those that are spectacular, but I think Dance to the Dead is one of those ones that I've watched 5 or 7 times, and I'd watch it anytime. So I put that on this list.
All right.
Good one.
Yeah, the thing is, I really enjoy Dance of the Dead. I don't think that it hangs as a super high rank on this list.
Oh, I didn't expect it to.
But I do I respect the mention. One of the gags from Dance of the Dead that I have sort of just internalized and still laugh about time to time is you're watching a brick channel, all bricks all the time. That coach was very funny to me. And I rewatched it not too terribly long ago and had a good time with it all over again. I think it's very silly and goes some places and is fun but dark and all that stuff. It's it's a real solid movie.
Yeah, I want to say that was one of the picks for the summer series for your one of your years, Bose.
Yeah, that felt yes, absolutely right. I'm not afraid of coming with old Dance of the Dead on occasion. All right. Anybody else?
It's been a while since I've seen that one. I remember liking it. It's just been a while since I've seen it. So I remember, yeah, I used to collect that line all the time. Like I think it was either After Dark or Ghost House Underground. I remember it being one of the better ones of that line. Either way,
I think it was Ghost House for some reason.
I think so too, because I remember like I'm just picturing the cover with like the Ghost House Underground logo on the side of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I haven't watched it in a long time. I remember what I vaguely remember is like I like some of it, didn't like other parts. But it's what it is. Don't hate it.
Yeah.
Don't love it.
It was either this or Boy Eats Girl that was going to be on my list. Which
I
is
like
also
that
very
movie,
fun.
too.
You are so evil, Gary.
I just rewatched that recently. I like it.
It's also very fun. Yes.
What about Dance of the Dead though in terms of a rank? Do we need where do we think it belongs on our list here?
I think it should be I'm just saying it because since I haven't seen it in a while. But but either way, it's still on the list.
Still at number 8. Okay. I don't think that's wrong. Let's pick up a suggestion from chat that I like quite a bit. Death Dream.
Ooh. I'm saving that one.
That was on my list too.
Mine too.
Man.
Well,
I didn't know if it necessarily fit as a zombie movie, but man, what a movie.
That's Lee from the chat suggested Death Dream, and again, you give me an interesting pick. I'll swipe it from chat all day long. Yeah, Death Dream is a great movie. I do argue that it is a zombie movie. It is a dead guy what comes home.
Yeah,
it's monkey's
it's
paw.
monkey paws.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't like he's dead, but is he a zombie? You know what I mean?
He kind of eats stuff.
That was kind of my question because he had to survive on humans to survive. I guess if you want to say that.
And actually Leah, who suggested this, also asked maybe it's more of a vampire movie. I feel like it's more zombie than vampire.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit neatly.
It's so much more though. I mean, that's the thing about it. Even though we're using that as the subtext, the thing about what war does to families and the fact of coming back and no longer being the person that they are. And I mean, there's a lot of deep stuff in that movie, man. It's heartbreaking film.
Yeah.
Great cast too. The guy from Godfather.
I will always defend this movie. I think it's one of those that's just shamefully not talked about enough.
I agree with you. I own it. I watched it a few weeks ago and it's still it's still relevant. And as you said, when you come back from war, you're not the same person, and the depths of grief that some families go through, that this is there's so much more than meets the eye with this movie. I love it.
Bob Clark. I mean, before Black Christmas, I mean, he was cranking this out. Just
look at Bob Clark's career, okay?
Yeah.
Death Dream, Black Christmas, Porky's, and A Christmas Story. Okay,
Right.
all different films. You know,
Yeah.
Very
but kind of
versatile.
classics in all of those genres, you know.
Yes.
Like the guy made people pleasing movies for sure. But Death Dream is certainly, I feel like, his darkest, and yeah, it's really good. Like that, you know, that kind of undersells it. But like you were saying, it is a movie that once more embodies the idea of using the horror as a backdrop to kind of that real world horror. And the movie is highly metaphorical, but it also doesn't get artsy fartsy about it. And it's still entertaining and creepy, and you know, like that scene when he's just sitting outside, and is it the neighbor who comes to visit and
Yeah.
and is just sitting in the chair across from him. It's like, man, this ain't right. Like there's something wrong with this dude, and everybody in town needs to like this is one of those things where the town comes together and like buries him, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's a possible outcome for this film. But it turns out the end of this movie is way more like tragic and heartbreaking than even that.
Man.
So
I don't even drink, and it'd make me want to go have a drink afterwards. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just
You know, the first time I ever see that movie, that whole scene with the dog, I'm like, oh fuck.
yeah.
yeah. All right. So I think I think we're on the same wavelength, that we all think it's a zombie movie. We all like it. Where does it fall on this list? Because it's not as neatly a zombie movie as, say, Tombs of the Blind Dead or Cemetery Man or
Right.
something like that. But
Yeah.
it's pretty good. You don't want to undersell Death Dream. So what do we think? Like, is it better than Dead Snow?
It's definitely sorry, Suzanne, but it's definitely
It's
better. It's definitely better than Dead Snow, in my opinion.
All right, I'm just kind of getting a ballpark. This is nothing against Dead Snow. Is it better than Tombs of the Blind Dead? Are we going that high?
I think it's safe where it is because it's, you know, like you said, it's kind of like that borderline zombie movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just happy that it's even being talked about. So, I mean, if it stays on the list at all, I'll be blown away. But, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a zombie movie. So
Gotcha.
that's gonna be what's hard
In,
about
in
all
your
this.
tradition, in your traditional sense, anyways, you know what I mean. But it's so good.
Yeah, I like it on this list. I'm glad that you know it's not bottom of the list. I think that feels right. So onwards and upwards. Let me throw one. I'm gonna go with a more recent option, which is Train to Busan.
Ooh,
This is I get of the list we have, it's the most recent film on the list right now. It is a Korean film, of course, and it is a fairly simple story of a dude and his daughter trying to get to Busan by train to see his mother for her birthday, or the little girl's mother for the birthday. And a zombie outbreak puts them in a life or death situation, and bada bing, bada boom, wouldn't you know it, people grow and fall in love and sacrifice themselves, and you know, it is a heart-wrenching movie in its own way as well. There are some characters that I really love in Train to Busan that go out in a way that I'm like, I respect the hell out of the way you're dying, but also I hate the fact that you're dying.
Yeah,
I just think it is a movie that's kind of filled with great characters. It's not deep in the way that like Death Dream or something is. It definitely does right by its characters, and there's some emotion in the movie, but it is also one of the coolest zombie movies for the nature of the zombies themselves being this just sort of, you know, teeth with, you know, appendages attached, where it is just eat, You know, like they will throw themselves off of the train, off of the tops of buildings. It is just mindless hunger. And I love it. I think it's kind of scary and you know, in a world where we get a lot of zombie shit, again, when you can kind of do something new with zombies as an idea. And it's a little World War Z, I suppose, but it's also a little, I don't know, there was something a little cooler about the infection to me in Train to Busan. But so that is my pitch for a movie that is largely hailed as one of the great zombie movies.
Yeah.
It
It's
deserves
great.
to be. Deserves to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
It'd be interesting if it was called Last Train to Busan, and then you'd be like a mixture of the Monkeys movie Head, zombie film, and you know. Yes, exactly. You know. Imagine Mickey Dolenz as a zombie. I would love that. Come on now, you know.
Hey, they have the zombie Rudolph in this movie.
Then I ate her face.
I'm a zombie.
All right. Anyone else want to chime in? I know I kind of went long on Train to Busan there, but
I
Well deserved.
You pretty much nailed it.
It's one of the only movies that made me tear up at that year when it came up. That ending, just wow.
it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I would argue that we should start the bidding at number 7.
Okay.
All right.
Like right there for now. But I'm also open to this being much higher because I think it's really good.
I think it should be above Tombs of the Blind Dead for me personally.
I could agree with that.
That's my spot for it anyway.
You saying number 5? You talking number 5? Is that what you're
I'm
saying,
speaking.
Gary?
I'm speaking number 5.
You're talking
sir,
number
yes.
5? Because I can go number 5 right now. I'm willing to do it.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's put it there and see how it feels. Let's put it on. Maybe take it out. All right.
Let it breathe for a while. Yes, indeed.
Uh-huh.
Scrooge.
I'm just obsessed with Ted Lasso these days. Anyway, let's look at our top 10, which we have now assembled. Starting from the bottom, the worst zombie movie of all time is Dance of the Dead.
That's unfair, but there you go. It is what it is. You know.
Number 9, Dead Snow. Number 8, Death Dream. Number 7, The Battery. Number 6, Tombs of the Blind Dead. Number 5, Train to Busan. Number 4, Night of the Creeps. 3, Cemetery Man. 2, Reanimator. Number 1, Zombie Flesh Eaters, aka Zombie 2, aka Zombie.
I like this list so far.
I feel pretty good about this so
I'm
far.
down.
I like it.
All right, let's keep it going here. Ricky, what you got for us?
I'm gonna dig into a little Romero here and go with my favorite. I'm one of those cellar dwellers, right? So I really, really love Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the next push for what we expect zombies to look like, and something about the claustrophobia of that whole movie that just I've always liked. Things are getting down and dirty in that movie. People just absolutely hating each other, which is kind of the whole point of any zombie movie anyways, is to see the people react with each other. But you throw in Dr. Frankenstein and, you know, Bub and everybody in there. I love that one. And the effects, man, come on.
Savini, some of Savini's best.
Savini was just unreal at this point. So yeah, there you go. It's legendary. Most people don't hail it as high as the other two, but I'm a Day of the Dead fan.
I am too, Garrett. I mean, Ricky, and it's also got one of the best female characters of any Romero.
I agree.
You know,
I
Sarah
agree.
is like
She's tough.
she stands between like all the dudes, and she talks back. She's not afraid of Rhodes or anything. She's like, "Fuck you, sir." You know,
Yeah.
you know, some great characterization. I even love the little drunk Irish guy in the movie. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Soon there'll be no fucking booze left.
Yeah. The whole scene where she goes out to their trailer that they've got near the pens and everything.
The Ritz.
Yeah. The whole speech about like, we ought to bury this Sarah. I love that whole conversation. Day of the Dead, it's one of those things where Dawn of the Dead, in my heart of hearts, I feel like is a better movie.
Yeah.
But Day of the Dead is the one I want to watch.
The thing with Day of the Dead is it's, like he had to rewrite the whole script because they cut his budget in half. And it's just mind blowing how good this movie still is with all that background shit that you know about it.
And it just, Pilato.
Joker!
Joker!
Yeah. Oh, all right. Let's. Where does this? Where is Day of the Dead on this list? Because I think we all
top 2.
No, I'm thinking 3, maybe 4.
I could live with
3, maybe 4.
Is it better than Night of the Creeps?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Is it better than Cemetery Man?
I don't think so. But that's me,
Anybody else?
If the 2 were sitting on a shelf, I'm probably grabbing Day of the Dead.
I'm probably grabbing Day.
I'm kind of in that camp too. Of
I'm picturing my shelf, and I'm kind of leaning toward Day.
I'm not objecting. We can go for it.
All right, let's do number 3. But I think Reanimator is the wall, right? Like
that's
or am I assuming too much?
No, you're not assuming. That's a majority rules that I can't argue because they're both very good. So
yeah.
All right, let's keep going then. Strong pick, Suzanne.
Wow, I'm torn between 2 right now, and I've actually got to go.
Natalie and Bruglia.
But I've got to just go with one that I watch a lot. I have a lot of fun with. My husband likes it, which is rare. But I've got to go with the British Doghouse.
Fun one.
It's fun. Is it a canon in the zombie series? No. But you've got great gore. It's fun. You've got a little bit of everything for everybody. All the women are zombies, which is kind of funny. The men are kind of hapless and, well, not that bright. And I just really enjoy it. I can't really, I just can't find a whole lot of fault with it. I enjoy it. It's a good ass zombie movie. It's what I like.
Not to be confused with a bad ass zombie movie, right? Like Toilet of the Dead or whatever it is. Yeah.
Let's.
Oh, Ricky, you haven't seen this film, Ricky?
Name.
Do what?
You haven't seen this film before? Zombie ass Toilet of the Dead?
Oh yeah. They showed it as a screening at Texas Frightmare, and me and Danny were sitting there going, "What is this piece of gold in front of us?"
Damn.
That is is that a Gucci? Was that Nishimura or was that a Gucci?
It's a Gucci, yeah.
That feels like a Nobunaga Gucci joint. He is willing to tackle the tough subjects.
Well, he did efforts for fart for ABC's of Death, so that that makes sense.
But it could could it have been Yoshihiro Nishimura? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend he's above it. Facebook friend to all, Yoshihiro Nishimura. Anyway, Doghouse is an interesting pick. I have seen that once a while ago. And I remember, I kind of remember it being like, oh, that was good. And then I kind of moved on with my life. It didn't leave too big an impression on me. But what about you guys? Where do you think this fits on this list?
I have no frame of reference. I haven't seen it before, so there's that.
It's been a while since I've seen it. So I remember liking it though. That's the thing.
I thought it was good. I never, just when she was telling the story again of how, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. So,
Is it better than Dead Snow Good?
you know, we keep bringing up the Dead Snow because it's on the list, but Dead Snow was kind of an anomaly because of when it came out. And I think that's why we like it so much, because it came out when there was really nothing going on.
All right, well let's put it this way then. Is it better than The Battery?
Ooh, not for me.
Yeah,
Not for me. Not for me.
Is it better than Death Dream?
Well, it is more of a zombie movie. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that. Yeah. I
What
would
about
agree with that.
let's put it on the hey, you got them on the shelf question. What are you going to watch, Doghouse or Death Dream?
Both.
You can't say both. That is not the question.
I know.
It's a
We
it's a
don't
hard
tie.
I would
it's a
probably.
hard question. Go ahead.
I honestly, if I'm with somebody, because usually if I'm with somebody, I would actually pick Doghouse over Death Dream.
I kind of agree, because Death Dream is one of those that if I want to be down in the dumps, that's when I'll pull out.
Okay.
Yeah, Doghouse is definitely fun, and it is
Yeah.
a zombie movie.
All right. Let's drop it at number 9. Anyone else gonna complain?
No.
All right.
Thank you, Gary.
Let's keep going then. Gary, speaking of.
Well, before it's not mentioned, I get upset myself. You see the background in the back? Those two zombies you're staring at.
Uh-huh.
One of my all-time favorite it's an anytime good time 4th of July film is Return of the Living Dead from 1985. It's just pure good, man. You got zombies running around. You got punk rock soundtrack. I always turn up louder when Surfing Dead comes on the movie. You got Tarman, played by amazing puppeteer Alan Troutman, just moving around in that suit. Friends who don't go together, but they're together for some reason. That's classic trope that I love so much. Brains. What else? There's a
10
lot
more paramedics.
10 more paramedics. I met
Send
most of
more
the
cops.
most
I
of the
hit
cast,
the fucking brain.
including
You think the movie lied?
the late Don Calvo and the late James Karen. I met both of those guys, and Gulaga lives forever. Yeah, there's so much good stuff about this film, and it deserves to be here. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
The corpses.
If you haven't seen it and you're a horror fan, there's something wrong with you.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Rabid
awesome.
weasels.
Let me tell you, this isn't a costume. This is a way of life.
Man, right. So that's one of the things about Return of the Living Dead is it's also eminently quotable.
Yeah.
You know, it hurts to be dead. I can smell your brains. You know, all of that stuff is,
Get
sort
some
of,
light over here. Trash, take her clothes off again. You know.
yeah,
I digress. Trash is taking your clothes off again, Merkin and all. Okay, people. You know.
it's just so it's so iconic at this point, and it's hard to believe that the guy who basically conceived the film Alien also did this movie.
Yeah.
And also, how dark is the ending of this one too? It is
Absolutely.
like it still manages to be a horror film, which is kind of the crazy thing. As entertaining and funny and wild as Return of the Living Dead is, it's also kind of unsettling and scary too.
It's exactly what we're missing in the horror world now. I think this is a definitive stamp of the 80s. I mean, to me, this thing is just as 80s as Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This thing really captures, that time period. And as crazy as it is, it really was what everybody was trying to make at that point. Reanimator is the same. I mean, this is where things were going at that time. And yeah, it caused an avalanche of too much corniness, where Jason's fighting a telepathic girl and stuff like that. But overall, this is a high point to me as far as horror goes.
I agree. It's got everything. I still have the soundtrack. I still listen to the soundtrack all the time.
Yeah.
The pizza
Yeah.
place I went to a couple of weeks ago, when I walked in the door, they were playing The Surfing Dead. Me and my friends, oh my God, I had to be maybe 14 at the oldest. And it was one of those triple cinemas. So we paid for one movie and then snuck into Return of the Living Dead. And she ran out. I was like, I was mesmerized. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
There's just, and I agree, it's iconic. It is that bit of the 80s that I so desperately miss in movies now. I just like the movie. I love the soundtrack. They managed to bring horror and music together. The special effects are just amazing, and it's got my favorite kind of ending. Everybody fucking dies.
Yeah.
All right, so where does Return of the Living Dead belong? Should we begin at number 10?
2.
Wow,
Hey.
2.
Yeah.
So
Better than Reanimator. I think that's gonna break that wall. I think. Yeah.
I have to
I think
go
so
too.
too. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't disagree either. I thought there was going to be more of a struggle, but yeah, I think Return of the Living Dead is amazing. And
And I gotta say, if you're coming to Days of the Dead Chicago in a few weeks, I will be there with Suzanne, and I get to start rebuilding that poster again that I lost in the fire. So I'm excited about that. So
excellent.
Awesome.
good
Excellent.
stuff, Gary.
All right. So let's take one from chat. I'm kind of going back and forth between a couple. Let's take Pontypool.
Oh, well, I forgot about Pontypool.
Pontypool is, of course, a Canadian film about a DJ who kind of finds himself reporting in the middle of a viral outbreak where language itself is the transmission device, and people get a phrase or a word stuck in their heads, and it loses all meaning, as it does sometimes, except it drives people crazy and they go nuts and attack people. So it's is it a pure zombie movie? Maybe not. I mean, it certainly is that kind of siege trope
Mm-hmm.
that zombie movies have of like, hey, you're in a small location, all the enemies are outside, but also somebody inside your inner circle is becoming infected and that kind of thing. So
that would go with the argument of why I'm not saying it is or it isn't on this list. 28 Days Later, is it a zombie film or is it an infection film? Because
Infection.
yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
You can even kind of throw zombie or demons in there as well, because it's almost that borderline.
Yeah, even
Which
like
is-
even Rex like borderline, because it ends up
absolutely.
with the spin on that one. It's kind of like, is it really a zombie movie?
And I'm not dumping on Chad. He's a great pick and everything. I love it. Stephen McHattie, he's great in everything. But yeah, I'm not throwing any shade at it. It's just there is going to be that argument amongst people always.
Yeah.
Is it a zombie film or is it an infection movie?
Yeah, we still can't decide if Jaws is a horror movie or not. So
I don't have any problems telling you right now. It certainly is. Despite the issues with how you define it as a zombie movie or not, I think it sticks most of those tropes, and also I just think it's so inventive. And it's so weird, and also when it gets kind of creepy and not exactly atmospheric, but when shit starts to go down in that movie, it does feel really like claustrophobic and like it feels apocalyptic, but you don't really see any of it. But it's as convincing an apocalypse movie as any, like big budget film.
Like the World's broadcast, original broadcast kind of way.
Yeah, and maybe that's one of the reasons I like it so much is it has that kind of element of, a lot of it is just shit you hear happening. You know, like
Yeah.
when you hear the local weather guy or whatever start to lose his shit, and you're like, oh wow, like that's, you don't have to see it to know how unsettling that is. And anyway, it's quite good, I think.
I saw Pontypool and this movie called Barbarian Sound Studio within probably 2 months of each other.
Oh, good double feature.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I mean, I like Pontypool a lot, but for me, it's always kind of the more low key. It's not just a straight up zombie movie, but I mean, for me, I feel it still kind of leans more infection than zombie.
I can see that.
All right. So where do we think it belongs on this list? Does it need to move at all?
No.
Yeah, I think it's good where it stays.
All right. We are going to give Pontypool the honorable mention then, that space. Now, by the way, Robert, who suggested Pontypool, is like, hey, I didn't really think about whether or not it's a zombie movie. I got to go think about this for a little bit.
It's a thinker, so he made you think about it.
Yeah, but that's the genius of the list. Anyway, still one of the 20 best zombie movies, regardless of what else happens.
We ruined your choice, damn it. Come on, people.
It's still one of the best. Still one of the best.
Yeah.
Or the worst. It depends on where it lands on the list.
Yeah.
Derek, speaking of landing on the list.
I gotta go with this one. It hasn't been mentioned yet. I actually just rewatched this movie last night for prep since I was doing this. I think for a non-Romero zombie movie, this one has a lot of those tropes, and it's Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue.
Oh, yeah.
Let Sleeping Corpses
Damn.
Lie.
It's on my list too. Yeah.
You know, I did a show on this like when the pandemic started, and it just mind blown. And this whole opening scene, you see people with fucking face masks on. I look at this movie so much differently now in the world we live in, and a lot of the stuff that's happening within this movie is happening right now, and it's fucking scary.
Yeah, they kind of nailed it. It's in my top 4 on my list as far as things to bring up while we're talking. So, yeah, it's incredible.
And it even has like a lot of like zombie movie tropes where the two main characters usually don't like each other when they first meet. And I can see that rubbing a few viewers off, but I love it every time I watch it more because you can see their friendship grow as the film progresses. And, Ray Locklove's character, he's just going after her. He's trying to save her at the end. And the beginning is like, oh, just give me a fucking ride, I just love it. And the music and the Gianna De Rossi, who did the effects for Zombie, worked on this, and some great atmosphere. And the score is so crazy. It's like these supersonic sounds, which kind of builds in like the sci-fi angle with like the agriculture machine. That's kind of this has everything I love. And the whole scene with them inside like the crypt, some of the most terrifying zombie moments ever for myself.
It's kind of the first zombie movie that gave you kind of an explanation of why it was happening, whereas before it was speculated, right? For the most part. So it's kind of like taking what Romero did with The Crazies and turned it into, a legit zombie film. So
it's actually funny you mentioned that, Rick, because I actually did a show on this back in the day, my old show, Celluloid Dissections, which no longer active, but we did a double feature of The Crazies and this great double feature.
Yeah,
they go hand in hand, and
oh yeah,
it's just a great movie.
All right,
yeah, I've always
go
been
ahead.
a big fan of that one. I'm sorry, I just butted in. No, I've always been a big fan of this one, and once again, I love the fact that they give you a bit of an explanation.
Yeah,
I don't need nowadays. They just want to spoon feed you every morsel of information because most people aren't smart enough to make up a conclusion on their own. But this one, it just seemed to work. And it's my tattoo artist. His shop is where they shot most of the movie. So if I ever get over to London or England to get a tattoo from him, I can go. He said he'd take me on a tour of all the places where they were shot.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Next time I'm in London to get a tattoo, I'll do that.
Yeah, he was guesting in Chicago, and he's a huge horror movie fan. So it was like the best 6-hour tattoo of my life.
All right, so Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, getting a lot of love. I am not the biggest fan of this movie. I gotta say, I know a lot of people adore it, as you have heard here. Not as big for me, but I'm not gonna be a big stinky poo poo about it. Where do you guys think this belongs on the list? Do you think this is a top 10 movie?
Yes.
All right, at top 10, is it better than? Let's jump up a couple of notches. Is it better than Train to Busan?
I think so, because I'll be honest, I'm not really much of the fan of the CGI in Train to Busan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else?
The problem with that, what we're going to run into here is because of the nostalgia of it all. I think Sleeping Corpses, you know, it's a little bit of a slow burn, so that can make a lot of people turn away from it, because it is coming off the heels of, you know, the Romero stuff in the 70s before you get to Dawn.
Yeah.
What about?
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, comparing it to Busan, I think is really hard to do, because they're really different ends of the spectrum.
It's a slow movement. Like in Train to Busan's like high octane.
Yeah.
Sure. What about, like, I just dropped it at number 8. So the order would then be Night of the Creeps, Busan, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. And that would place it above Tombs of the Blind Dead.
I could be happy with that.
Does anybody think that we need to move it higher?
Oh, that's where it should be, I think.
I think
It's good.
I think those two are pretty comparable to each other where you got it.
Gotcha. Okay. So here is the thing. This is the last time around. I'm going to reserve a pick and potentially give one up to chat if I see one that I really like. I've seen everybody so far, by the way. Hello, Mike. But nothing that I'm willing to give up a pick on my list for yet. That could change. So let's go to Ricky first with his last pick of the top 20 zombie films.
Somebody has to do it, right?
Uh-huh.
Somebody has to do it. You got to have Dawn of the Dead in there.
All right. And is this the
Original.
OG? 78? Is that right? 1978?
Yeah. The Argento cut.
Right. Obviously the Argento cut. Yeah. Speak your piece, sir.
I mean, it's the standard, right? I mean, it's the one that every movie is kind of measured up against as far as a zombie flick. You don't have what we currently have at number 1 if it wasn't for the impact of Dawn of the Dead. You can arguably say it's more important than Night. I don't know that it is, but as far as impact on the industry and as far as what movies came afterwards, it's hard to find a movie that's any bigger than Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to speak some piece on this one?
You know,
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
a
Night
great
of the Living
film.
Dead is the gold standard for zombie movies.
Yeah.
This is what everything is compared against. But Dawn, you get a different aspect. You get this group of survivors trying to find a way to exist with all the trials and tribulations. I've always, I think I've always preferred Dawn over Day, but Day I think is the more fun movie. It's actually the next step in the process where where everything is more militarized.
Yeah.
But Dawn is more of the human story as opposed to the zombie story. But
Right.
yeah, it's
All right. So I mean, I agree. Dawn of the Dead is one of those movies that the first time you saw it, it scared the shit out of you and changed your life, you know?
And that Goblin score.
Oh my God, the Dawn
Yeah.
of the Dead score is so good. Yes, you're
Oh, I
right. That
know.
deserves a special shout out. All right, Dawn of the Dead, is it a top 10 movie?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, let's start at number 10 then. Is it better than Cemetery Man?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, that makes it a top 5 movie. Is it better than Day of the Dead?
I think it is.
You know what? I'm gonna say it is. It's just my favorite to watch is Day.
Yeah, I
But
think Dawn's a better movie, but Day's my favorite.
I
I
get this
think-
argument with them. Sorry, go ahead, Suzanne.
All I was going to say is I just think Dawn is a little bit more impactful than Day.
I get this argument with people, namely people like Willis Wheeler, who's my brother, my friend, my one of my closest confidants.
fuck Dawn of the Dead.
Man, he's one of those folks that wholeheartedly believes that the Zack Snyder remake is much, much better. I disagree, because in this one you got 4 characters to get to know, to give a shit about, and care when they die. I didn't care when any of those people died in that movie whatsoever. Even the one with the good hearts, I didn't care. This one you got to know these people. You felt their claustrophobia. You felt their little foibles. And then when the zombies coming in at the end is just a bonus. If I had to compare like third acts,
Yeah.
Day of the Dead is much better zombies.
And
than
the
that
whole biker scene's amazing. Tom Savini.
Oh, yeah.
I see you, chocolate man.
All right. So are we saying it's better than Reanimator?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it better than Return of the Living Dead?
No, not to
No.
me.
It's tough, but I think Dawn's better.
It's a touchy subject because they're all so related.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
there wouldn't be a Return without Dawn,
Yeah.
but
Does that make it a better movie though?
I'll
Right.
tell you, here's gonna be my argument for Dawn of the Dead, and I'm gonna kind of make an argument that Mike is making, as much as I would like to torture him and refute this. I think for me personally, it is the number one spot because it is the wellspring from which everything else grows, but also, the thing we haven't talked about is it also happens to be a great skewering of consumerism, and
Right.
it is clever and tense and occasionally very goofy and funny, but even within that goofiness there's always this underlying threat. And I'm not saying that it's going to be the number one on the list. I'm saying it would be my personal number one. I would argue that at the very least it should probably be the number 2, if not the number 1, only because Return of the Living Dead, as much as it kind of skewers zombie movies to some degree and what we think of as zombies, and it's really funny and it's really well done, I don't think it has sort of the political voice that Dawn of the Dead does, where it's not only doing all the other stuff to be a zombie movie and have characters that you care about and that kind of thing, it's also in the hands of a director that has something to say about the world around him.
You know what, Poe? I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
And
Bump
Zombies
it to one.
my Zombies my number 1, my favorite horror film of all time. But I feel like without Dawn of the Dead, we wouldn't get Zombie.
Without a doubt. I mean, to the point of, come on, he named it Zombie 2 because Argento released it as Zombie. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
All right, so are we saying that's the number 1 right now, is like
Yeah.
the original Dawn of the Dead?
I don't want to fight too hard. I mean, we have without Nights, without the Romero canon, we really wouldn't have any of these other movies. But I'm just going to be. I'll just agree. I just feel that Zombie and Night of the Living Dead, or Return of the Living Dead, sorry.
Yeah.
I just think that they're better. I love Dawn. Don't get me wrong, but I just think the other 2 are better movies.
All right, let's be democratic about this, because I don't want to minimize any voices here. Anyone else feel like it needs to be in a number 2 or number 3 slot?
like I said, Zombie's my favorite horror film of all time, and I'm agreeing that Dawn should be number one. So,
All right. So objection noted, but in the interest of democracy, we are going to leave it at number one as the community choice. But Suzanne, you have a chance to right the ship. What is your pick? Your final pick is next.
Well, I just have to go with things I like, the things I always go back to. So, I love Italian. I love batshit insane. So I got to go with Burial Ground.
oh, that was gonna be my fucking pick.
I thought it was gonna be The Beyond, and I was waiting for you to say it. So
Oh God, no! I wrestled with that decision for a long time, but once again, I just got to lean with what I like, and it's just when you think the movie's over, it starts all over again. You've got it's just okay. It's just fucking weird, is what it is.
that boy bit his mama's nipple off. Okay, that's all I'll say.
Mommy, man, no, I can't even do it. I can't even do it. But it's bloody. The zombies are kind of terrible, but I don't care. But they just, whenever the scene, you think it's starting to slow down, they just throw more zombies into the scene. And it never ends. There's not really a beginning, a middle, or an end. It's just zombies eating people and all of these weird elements in between.
Mommy.
Burial Ground.
Andrea Bianchi, man. Well, it all makes sense because he directed Strip Nude for Your Killer before this.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a sleazy fucking movie, and this is beyond sleazy as usual. I personally love it.
Oh yeah.
The thing that I love about it, the movie story, it's not really that great, I'll admit, but this movie has amazing atmosphere. The zombies look great, in my opinion. This is my favorite looking kind of zombies, all rotten, decrepit, rising.
Oh yeah, and dusty, and it's kind of got that gothic feel to it.
Yeah, and the thing I love about it too is this is like the first zombie movie where zombies are like using tools and shit and fucking using a scythe to decapitate that fucking maid. It's fucking amazing.
I love Sugar Hill for that reason. Zombies using tools. It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one, Gary. And you get lines like, "You look like a little whore." I mean, the movie's just all over the place. I mean,
and like, how do these people know this weird professor guy that you meet in the beginning of the movie? He's like dressed like a hermit.
All right.
Stand back. I'm your friend.
Where does Burial Ground? Burial Ground is kind of that drive-in favorite, right? Like it is just, if you want just pure like zombie action weirdness, then Burial Ground is your guy. Where does that place it?
Number 11.
Number 11. It's better than The Battery. Are we saying Burial Ground is better than The Battery?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But not better than Tombs of the Blind Dead?
No.
Yes. Okay, no.
All right. So
settle so hard. Listen to her settling so hard. You can hear her heart breaking.
Gary, your final addition to this list.
My final addition to this list, it deserves to be here because it's the most fun you have with a lawnmower and a zombie film, and that's Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. And it deserves to be here because it starts the fun.
Yep.
Just watch that custard so you not get sick. I dare you. Okay,
I can't do it, man. Can't do it.
The Sumatran rat monkey. That was the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
It belongs here, and I can't wait for the effing Blu-ray to finally come that they're boasting. That and Meet the Feebles and all that stuff, But it just belongs here. If you haven't seen Brain Dead, run and go see Brain Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that whole pudding scene. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, I know that was so nasty.
It's disgusting. It's the I Kick Ass for the Lord is very funny. It has like the last 20 minutes of that movie is just fucking crazy.
Zombie baby in the most adorable way possible. Little Nelwyn, you know.
It's yeah. I mean, and it kind of is up there for me with like Evil Dead 2 in
Right.
terms of just showing that you can, if you're talented enough and you earn it, you can kind of get away with anything in a movie.
When the zombie vicar is pounding away on his mom, I can't stop laughing. I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard, you know.
Right, but the reason that is so funny is because of all the stuff that you know about his mother and all the stuff you know about the priest. And like
Right.
the movie doesn't just show, it's not Burial Ground where it's just a bunch of like seemingly connected shit. Like it's an actual story about a guy learning to gain some confidence and get what he wants out of life and all that stuff. But everything happening around him is just the craziest shit you ever saw. And it's kind of wonderful. Like Brain Dead, aka Dead Alive. What a great movie. What a great movie.
Yep.
All right. Where does it belong though? Is it a top 10 movie? Meaning at that point, does that says it is better than Tombs of the Blind Dead.
It's bold statement is better than Reanimator for me, so I think that's where it belongs for me.
Tough, because I love all these movies.
I know it's like pick your favorite children. I get it, but, you know, to me,
we've got 2 to go.
But for me, it's right there at Reanimator, but I can't put it above Reanimator. And I love me some Peter Jackson.
Above Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That would be.
Oof.
That would be top 5.
I can't say it's better than Day.
Nah.
All right. So
It's
is it better
right
than
there.
Cemetery Man?
Better than Cemetery Man.
Okay.
I'd boast that.
Okay. So that run would be Day of the Dead, Brain Dead, Cemetery Man.
Yeah, that sounds about cool.
That feels right to everybody.
That's
okay.
accurate.
That fits. Yep.
All right, Mr. Cool. Speaking of, it is time for your last pick, Derek. What you got?
Well, I didn't want to do it, but I'm gonna have to do it. Directed by one of my favorite directors of all time, Umberto Lenzi. Without this movie, we wouldn't have any of the infected zombie movies that we have, and that is Nightmare fucking City.
Yes.
Lee Russell loves you right now because you're picking this on your own.
Yes,
you know?
yes. Lee also suggested in chat Nightmare City. Nightmare City is fucking nonsense. Go on. Don't let me interrupt. Continue.
Well, it is not. Well, I know a lot of people hate this movie for the ending, but it's in the fucking name of the movie. You know?
Right.
And, you know, is it lazy? You know, it's that whole movie. Is it a dream? But, you know, I like that aspect of it. I always did. You know, it's kind of oozing with cheese and shit. It has my favorite aerobic scene since Pieces, where the girls are just doing aerobics in the fucking TV studio and shit, and the zombies are all covered in dog shit, and the makeup's cheesy. And, you know, it's just cheesy bad goodness. You know, it has fucking Mel Ferreira's like this general, and he's like, "Come on, we gotta go to Plan C." And they're like, "What the fuck's Plan C?" You know. And Hugo Stickless is just staring at the fucking green screen or some fucking way. Hugo Stickless. Everyone knows who Hugo Stickless is. It's just shut your brain off fun. I'm not saying that it's going to be a top 10 or anything, but I think it should be talked about because without it, we wouldn't have a lot of the fucking infected running zombie movies because these zombies are fucking jetting. When that plane lands, they're just fucking jumping out with fucking weapons and going to town.
Yeah, they're high functioning zombies for sure.
You know, and you know, I want to think that Planet Terror from Robert Rodriguez is kind of like a remake of Nightmare
Very
City.
much.
Mm-hmm.
You
Very
know,
much so.
So it's influential in that state.
All right. Well,
I agree. It's one of those movies. It's a straight up popcorn movie. There's no real nutritional content, but it sure tastes good. And I swear to God, they use the same axe in every scene with the axe.
Well, what do you want to do? Pay for a bunch of axes? Come on.
Yeah, I know,
We're trying
right?
to make a movie
But
here.
like, well, that was, cost effective.
Yeah.
Good for you for reusing that axe.
All right. Well, where does it belong on this list? Let's. Is it better than Dance of the Dead?
I think so. I think that's where it should stay too. I'll make that clear.
We don't want to move it above Dead Snow. Our
No.
whipping boy for this entire episode, Dead Snow.
Thanks, guys.
No, I'm happy where it stays there.
Right.
It's definitely not a top 10 or maybe not even a top 15. Or I'm happy as long as it's on the list.
Well, you put it there, Derek. So
Yeah. All right. That leaves one last pick. I am going to defer to Jerry from the chat. Because in fairness, this was on my list anyway. I probably would have gone with it. That is One Cut of the Dead. And another recent entry onto the list, which is sort of a movie within a movie within a movie.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say too much about it because if you haven't seen One Cut of the Dead, one of the best things about watching One Cut of the Dead is not knowing everything about One Cut of the Dead.
well, I know zero things about it because I haven't watched it. I've only heard the hype. So there's that.
That kind of sucks because is it even a horror movie? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's my issue with it.
I mean, it is certainly a movie about horror movies.
Yeah, I don't. It's kind of hard since
Yeah.
Gary hasn't seen it, so he can't really talk about it in that sense. Where it's kind of a tough one for me.
Yeah, but I think it's totally worth discussing on this list because it for a movie or for a list about zombie movies, a movie that is so in love with the idea of making a zombie movie feels
Right.
like it at
Yeah.
least belongs on the list, even
And
if we don't. Yeah, go ahead.
That's my argument as well, because we're talking about the best zombie movies, not necessarily the best horror zombie movies, just zombie movies. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of go any direction.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really care for it. But then again, I think I've just been in a bad mood for it like a year and a half already. I don't know. It just didn't really do anything for me.
I have a lot of fun with Poultrygeist. I didn't put on this list, but that's a zombie film.
I love
Uh,
Poltergeist, man.
It's true, but unfortunately, we now have a completed list. It's just a question of, is Pontypool the last thing on the list, or is One Cut of the Dead the last thing on the list? Or does One
Pontypool.
Cut of the Dead belong much higher? Because I'm fine. Like, if we went to say, hey, One Cut of the Dead is top 10, again, that's a personal list for me, but it
I
probably
would say
would
it'd
be.
be at least top 15.
Which would put it, let's say number 15 would put it above Death Dream.
No.
What about this would be perfect. What if it's above Dead Snow?
No.
It's like it's
No.
staying the way it is. Damn it!
No. 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 No.
I'm not going to argue with Suzanne. We're going to do an argument.
I'll-
one time
I'll
on
tell you
AFW
what,
about Suspiria.
I gotta stick to it's better than Nightmare City.
Yeah,
I think just as a movie that works as a complete narrative.
Yeah, I could. Like I said, I could agree with that.
I think Nightmare City is wonderful, and I'm glad it's on this list, but it's utter nonsense.
I know that one half of that statement. I haven't seen the other half, so there you go.
All right.
People tell me good things about the other, so there you go.
Let's recap our list then, because it is now complete.
Hey,
Starting
Hey.
from the bottom, the worst zombie movie of all time is Pontypool.
that's true. It's terrible. It's a garbage film.
Oh my God.
The second worst zombie film of all time at number 19, Dance of the Dead. At number 18, Nightmare City. Number 17, One Cut of the Dead. Number 16, Dead Snow. Number 15, Death Dream. Number 14, Doghouse. Number 13, The Battery. Number 12, Burial Ground. Number 11, Tombs of the Blind Dead. Your top 10 zombie movies of all time. Let Sleeping Corpses Lie.
Yes.
Number 9, Train to Busan. Number 8, Night of the Creeps. Number 7, Cemetery Man. Number 6, Brain Dead, aka Dead Alive. Number 5, Day of the Dead. Number 4, Reanimator. Number 3, Return of the Living Dead. Number 2, Zombie Flesh Eaters, aka Zombie 2, aka Zombie. And number 1, Dawn of the Dead from 1978 is your greatest zombie film of all time. That is it, folks. Now, whenever someone asks you what is the best zombie movie of all time, you have the list right here. If someone says, hey, what about this movie? It ain't on the fucking list. It's not the best zombie movie of all time, clearly.
That's tragic then. See,
Hey, then you should have put it on the list if you were so upset about it.
I only have so many options. So many picks, man. We talked about this.
That is the dangerous game we play, Gary.
I mean, Night's not even on the list.
Or Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, nowhere on this list. That's right.
City of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
I had that. But I had to go for the zombie movies that I thought were more zombie.
Yeah.
True.
And it was hard. I spent hours on this list.
Yeah, and look how meaningless that was.
No, but I'm really happy that Tombs of the Blind Dead and Manchester Morgue got talked about, because they're mostly, they seem to be forgotten movies, and even Death Dream.
Yeah.
I mean, these are some fantastic movies that just don't seem to, they're not getting as much exposure as they should, because these are amazingly great movies.
Yeah, it's a very fun list. I actually like this list a whole lot. It's plenty of things to complain about, but again, that's kind of the fun, is there's always reasons to bitch about whatever's not on a list or is on a list. Who cares? This is the top 20, the best ever. Everybody shut up now. So let's take it around the horn one more time. Ricky, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find, other than you have done like thousands of hours of podcasts, and if people want to assemble an AI Ricky Morgan, you can do that using clips from other shows.
Look up the Hail Ming Power Hour at Legion, of course. The flagship show for everything else that I did coming out of that. But I still go back to just how much fun that show is. Even if we did have Bo Ransdell on there a few times.
Man, he's awful, ain't he?
This feels very hurtful, everyone.
Piece of shit.
You check out that. You can check out Short Bus Cinema, which we're doing my finale episode for that this week. And Johnny and Joseph are going to keep that show going. So I wish them the best of luck. I know it'll be fantastic. And no, that's pretty much it. Just go to Legion. You'll find me on something.
Almost guaranteed. Open up any page on Legion, you're probably there. Okay. So, Suzanne, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on the Cinema Beef with Gary Burning for Springwood, which is our show about Freddy's nightmares, and off on Dark Discussions, I do a little show called NFW, which most of you are aware of. I have to deal with Willis Wheeler.
Fucking Suzanne.
Fucking Suzanne.
Bitch.
All right. Gary, how about you, sir? Same question.
Same
answer.
question. You can find me on The Rock most days. No, find me on Cinema Beef podcast with Suzanne. I'm very behind on editing. I have three episodes in the can currently. So look for them this week sometime, or two of them this week sometime. We have a new 2 Dream commentaries on the movie The Boogans, which includes one Boogan apparently, and that's all you get in that movie. And we talk about like Canadian clothing and stuff, and it was wild.
The Boogans.
The Boogans. Myself, Mr. Nudie, Cameron Scott, and Bloodbath and Boomstick's own Kyle Poling did that show. And next one, after that one, I found a movie. We haven't done the show yet, so you're still welcome to come on, Bo. Sakura Fighters is the film, which includes Chuck Connors and ninjas. So that's a film that I found, and what a film it is. It's something else. That'd be the next one coming out. But yeah, that show, Burning for Springwood, and whatever else I'm thinking of next. I think I'll do some with Derek. We'll talk about the show, Derek, and see if you want to join up with this one, because you have so many projects. I know you do, but I think you'll like this one. Yeah, legionpodcast.com, and occasionally I'll hop on, if I'm not in a coma, on the NFW commentaries as well.
Excellent. All right, Derek, how about for you, sir? Aside from
Sure.
being a stallion of Southern Middle European descent.
Oui, But, Cinema Attack, which you can find on the Dark Discussions Network. Our next episode that will be out. Speaking of shitty zombie movies, we're doing a Uli Boo director spotlight. House of the Dead.
Ugh,
That's
that's a rough movie. That's a bad movie.
God.
Alone in the Dark and Blood Rain. We did all three of those. It was painful. Spoiler alert, Blood Rain's the only one I didn't rate over a 2. The only one I rated over a 2. Fucking fun time. I still had fun talking about the movies more than actually watching the movies. We actually created a new hall, because we have the Hall of Ironside, named after Michael Ironside for our awesome movies. Now we have the Hall of Bull for our shit movies.
Yeah, even Short Bus won't touch those, man.
But that should be out next week, I think. And then they're here. We're still trying to figure out when we're going to record, but getting that going up soon. We have some ideas for new shows for that. No More Room in Hell. We have a show out already, but our next episode will be on Czechoslovakian horror films, so look for that in the future. And of course, you can find me on the Legion Podcast Network for Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, where we bring you those visions of Monster Land. And our next episode will be on Gamera versus Barugon, and that should be out very soon. We got to figure out times and schedules to get us all together for that. So look out for those in the future. Awesome stuff.
Excellent.
When you say Czechoslovakia, all I think about is Stripes.
It's Czechoslovakia. What's wrong with there?
It's like getting out of Wisconsin.
So,
I got kicked the shit out of in Wisconsin.
it's a very funny line. Anyway, folks, thank you all for watching. Please be sure you subscribe on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or wherever it is that you're watching this. Be sure you subscribe and follow us there. We'll be back to do more. If you enjoyed the video stuff, you might also enjoy supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/Legion Podcasts, where you can see a monthly video there called the Ouija Experiment, in which I and a rotating chair of guests talk about movies what have the word Ouija in the title, and those are terrible. But and also a lot more over at legionpodcasts.com. One more thank you to everyone, not only watching, but for this panel to come together and debate this final definitive list of zombie films. And we'll be back in a month to settle other grudges and scores with another list of the best 20 of something that has yet to be determined. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Thanks to the panel. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.